ground and like sit there for a while until he calms down. And then the other night when I stayed the night, they're like, I don't know, he wants out of the room. He wants to sleep with you. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm more of a fucking leader than you guys are.
Yeah.
I know dogs and you are, cats and water, but
Hey man, I got Cheswick now, so he's a pretty chill
that's true.
dog. Yeah. So
How old is he?
he just turned one on Cinco de
Eh,
Mayo's. He just turned one. So
yeah, but within like the next year, he can go 8 hours.
yeah,
Dogs are able to like put their urine in their liver or something like that, or
yeah.
that's not accurate, but
I mean, that's not okay. Well,
dogs are able to like suppress their urge,
yeah,
unlike humans. I read an article one time, but I can't articulate it right now. But
yeah. It's I mean he has to. When I do overtime, I work 6 a.m. to 2:30. So I mean he's gotta. I don't come home for lunch during that shift. So I mean
that's only
he sits
that's
in
only
there.
8.5 hours.
I mean I let him out at like 5 something. So but yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. He's a pretty good dog. So
Yeah,
nasty little
dogs
ass that
aren't
he is.
children.
Yeah,
I'm real big on that.
me
Like,
too. Me too. That's on the record too. I'm not editing that out. That's on the record.
no, keep it,
Keep
keep it.
it.
Don't
Send
cut
it.
that. Don't cut that. Don't cut that.
Send it. But dude, before we get
Well, I hate
started,
when.
but before we get started, dude, I'm gonna again congratulate Ohio State on the victory against Texas, dude.
Well, eh,
Oh, you're not that impressed? Okay, okay,
well, I mean, I
whatever,
didn't get to watch
whatever.
it. I saw highlights. Whatever. They fuck you in the drive-through. Um, I didn't get to watch it. I saw highlights. I watched a little bit on my lunch break, but Texas being preseason ranked number one, I don't think was probably an accurate
Well, it's like I said on the
assumption of their team, and we'll see further down the line. But and then, I mean, wasn't that great? We only had 230 yards of offense,
Well, I mean,
so
shit, dude. I mean, it's I like I said over the text. I mean, Texas is probably the most talented team in the country per returning starters. Obviously, I mean they're ranked number one for a reason. So if they go,
well, they're not anymore.
if they fall outside the top 25, dude, it's a fucking disaster in Austin. I mean, I'm gonna be thrilled because I hate Texas, and I understand it's more of a jealousy thing because Nebraska's only beat them once, but yeah, I just don't. You should be happy,
And
okay?
it's funny because I am. We're now number one in the
Yeah,
land, but
yeah.
it's week two, and Texas fell to like 8 or 12 or something like that.
Shit, dude. Huh.
And I was talking to a couple people. They're like, "Are you a Texas or Ohio State?" I'm like, "Well, I'm an Ohio State fan, but when we moved to Nebraska, we couldn't watch any Ohio State, so I had to
Amen.
pick a Big 12 team."
Amen. Yeah.
And the first game I ever went to in Memorial Stadium was against Texas and Ricky Williams, and he ran for like
Ooh, shit,
230
dude.
yards.
The '96 game.
And it was like the
Fuck,
first
man.
it was like the first time Nebraska had lost at home in like
Yeah.
15 years or
It
something
was
like
it was
that.
in '96. It was '98. I remember now.
8,
Yeah,
yeah.
'98. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. Well, brother, you want to
But I
start?
will say before I go into the intro here, tough to take these notes, and I mean to speak intelligently about these movies. I think it's going to be a pretty quick pod.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's just going to be all about how we felt about the movies because there's no direction and
No.
cinematography and
No. Nothing about it's kind of an unusual.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and every Disney movie is kind of the same thing, right? Like,
It is. Yeah. Yeah. There's a certain structure I
but
guess. Well,
I'm interested. I have like 7 different top tens, but the top 4 have always stayed the same. So
shit. Okay.
we'll see how that goes. But all right, we'll start at 6:25. Ready? So in 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Jaaron. I'm with my good friend Zach. Zach, say hello.
Hello.
Thank you. This is the Average Jives podcast, where we spend about an hour or so of our lives discussing, debating, and ultimately ranking movies. Zach's pick for a different category. And as always, we're going to put a disclaimer. We're not professional critics. We don't claim to be the smartest individuals. Just a couple of friends who grew up together who enjoy talking about movies, which makes us a couple of average jives. This week, we're going to be discussing our top 10 Disney animated films. And before we dive in anything, I think it's going to be important to list some of our honorable mentions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty long list, to be honest with you. We're missing a lot of great ones. Uh,
Well, I've spoken to a couple of friends and colleagues in town and everything, and hey, we're doing Disney animated, excuse me, movies this week. Oh, where's Lilo and Stitch? Where's Tarzan? Where's Pocahontas? Where's Pinocchio? Like
yeah,
none of those
they
are on
didn't.
our
They
list.
didn't make it. They didn't make the list. Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with the pod, Zach and I are going to introduce the 5 movies that we picked, and then we will dive into the debate and our final ranking. So again, a couple of honorable mentions that you will not hear on our intros: 101 Dalmatians, Little Mermaid, Rescuers, and Down Under.
Hmm.
Sword in the Stone, Pinocchio, Pocahontas, Frozen, and the list goes on and on and on, like Zach said. But again, this is our podcast. This is what we enjoy and think are the best. So roll with us.
Yeah,
Zach, do you want to start with your first movie?
I can. I can.
Well, you should.
Yeah. well, me and Jaron discussed this via text about when we usually do the film specs and go through writer, director, and the actors. But this being animated, all these Disney movies, most of them, anyways, had like, you know, 5 directors, 8 writers, and a bunch of people's voices that we've never heard of. So it's going to be a little, I don't know, how would you say, just like the film specs are going to be various credits, not the usual format. So, but honestly, the one I'm going to introduce first was only 2 directors, so I did list them. But the movie is Beauty and the Beast from 1991. It was
Mm-hmm.
directed by Kurt Weiss, who I initially thought might have been related to Robert Weiss, who won Best Director for West Side Story and Sound of Music, but not related at all.
Hmm.
So, yeah, it turned it out just bullshit research. But uh, Gary Trousdale was the other director for Beauty and the Beast, and the animation screenplay was by Linda Wolverton, who she wrote one of
Hmm.
our favorite childhood movies, Homeward Bound. Jaron, you remember that one?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Bringing up from an earlier pod.
Yeah. And this,
Well, I noticed that with a lot of these Disney movies, the writers and quote unquote, like you mentioned, some of these movies have like 21 directors
yeah,
that's
yeah.
credited.
And I think,
But a lot of them worked on other movies that we'll list and went through it. So
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a melting pot for each one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this was one of the rare movies on my list that only had 2 directors and 1 writer, so I just rolled with it. But the notable names in the cast were Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Potts and Jerry
Mm-hmm.
Orbach, who was one of the original Law and Order dudes. If you don't remember him, uh, the storyline: a village girl trades places with her father, who is imprisoned by a harsh beast under spell in a cursed castle. As days pass together, the beast begins to regain his humanity through his love for this young woman. And Hal Hinson of the New York Post called it a near masterpiece that draws on the sublime traditions of past while remaining completely in sync with the sensibility of its time. And that's all I got for Beauty and the Beast, Jaron.
Yeah, like I mentioned before we started recording, I think these are going to be pretty short specs. Critics aren't going to dive deep into these animated films
Well,
unless
You didn't go big. Roger didn't go deep into these. I kind of thought he might, man.
I got a couple Rogers. I
Good,
got a couple Rogers.
good,
So,
good.
and then going on the other side of the spectrum with directors and writers, I'm going to introduce Lion King, released in 1994 with a running time of an hour 28 minutes, directed by only two people, Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff. Most notably, Rob Minkoff kind of took the reins on the Stuart Little mini franchise that it was back in the day. And then Roger Allers also did your movie, Beauty and the Beast and Lion King, which I'm going to talk about now. But they had 29 different writers. And I tried to delve into a couple of the writers to see what else they had done. And it's really just a bunch of other different Disney animation movies. And again, how can you write direct animation movies seriously? It did star, however, Matthew Broderick, Jeremy Irons, Whoopi Goldberg, James Earl Jones, Rowan Atkinson, who people in our age will know as Mr. Bean, Nathan Lane, and Cheech Marin. Surprisingly, the movie did win two Oscars:
Yes, it did.
Best Song and Best Score. Our man Hans Zimmer, who, if you are a movie fan, you will know Hans Zimmer scores pretty much right off the bat: Rain Man, Twister, Days of Thunder, League of Their Own, True Romance, Gladiator, Black Hawk Down. The
Yes.
list goes on and on and on. And Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave it a 3.5 out of 4, saying the movie may be frightening and depressing to young children, but I think it's a positive for real world issues. Children can now prepare themselves for more difficult lessons later on.
Yep.
So, it a little jarring, right? The Scar Mufasa scene, but
Yeah.
hey, that's real world life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's all I have for Lion King.
All right. All right. My turn. My turn. Next up on my list is Fantasia from 1940. Uh, all I could find about the animation team was that it was done by the Disney animation team. Too many directors, too many writers to name, but it's Walt Disney's bold blend of storytelling by the blend of storytelling, the great classical music of Beethoven, Johann Sebastian Bach, and Stravinsky using animation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think it's Bosley Crowther of the New York Times, who was at the premiere, noted that that motion picture history was made last night. Fantasia dumps conventional formulas overboard and reveals the scope of films for imagination excursion. Fantasia, simply terrific. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an important movie in animated movie history. Also to know, it was the first film to use stereophonic sound. Uh,
Oh shit, I didn't.
I'm not a genius. I'm not even sure what that means, but it seems like a big deal. And then it's still to this date is the longest Disney animated feature at 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah,
So just a dark movie though, and
it
we'll get
is.
into that when we start ranking these movies. Next up on my list, the classic Bambi,
Mm-hmm.
released in 1942, which is incredible, with a running time of only 99 minutes, or I'm sorry, 69 minutes, 1 hour and 9 minutes long. It's a very short film.
It is. Yes.
Directed by James Algar, who also did Fantasia, and 8 other people who nothing of importance that I could see.
Yeah.
The story was written by Felix Salten, who actually died in 1945, just 3 years after the movie was released. And he is a pretty famous Austrian writer. He did a lot of stories, especially not fantasy, but kind of children's stories in the time before his death. And he's heralded as one of the greatest Austrian writers, or not only one of the greatest Austrian writers, but one of the greatest European storytellers of his time. Doing the research, just big praise for Felix Salten. So I needed to mention that. Stars 29 different people, all of which are uncredited for some reason.
Hmm.
And the only person of interest was Horty Albright, who voiced the adult Bambi, who also starred in a movie we'll probably be talking about next week, Saboteur,
Hmm.
by Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
It's about a story of a young deer who loses his mother early on and grows up in the forest alone and has to find the world by himself.
Yeah, I mean, he gets
3 Oscar nominations.
oh nice.
I'm sorry.
I mean, he gets help from a Thumper and those dudes, but he'll be all right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
rabbits and other things. 3 Oscar nominations: music, sound, and scoring, which seems to be a theme among Disney animated movies.
Hmm.
It sounds like the music, sound, and scoring are what they're going for on the big stage. Roger did not review this movie, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah.
But I did find a quote by author Stephen King, who said it was the first horror movie he ever saw. He was distraught when the mother was shot, and it really opened him up to when this is not quoting anymore, but when the fire was happening, he was paralyzed but also entertained at the same time. So, did Bambi start Stephen King's
Yeah. Oh, I don't know,
run? I
man.
don't know, but he was actually influenced by Bambi. There's a lot of articles that speak about this. Stephen King famously loved Bambi, thought it was a horror movie.
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
All right, dude. You ready for my next one?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. I got Fox and the Hound, 1981.
Mm-hmm.
The supervising animators were Randy Cartwright, Glenn Keane, Cliff Nordberg, Ron Clements, Frank Thomas, and Ollie Johnston.
The Big Hurt.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
bigger.
Frank Thomas.
That was the first thing I thought
Chicago White
when
Sox.
I wrote it in. But yeah,
For our sports fans out there.
yeah. But it's based on the book by Daniel Mannix. I recognized one of his books was made into a Peacock series called Those Who Are About to Die, but I haven't seen it or read the book, obviously. But the two most famous voices
Good
used
tidbit.
in the film were the great Kurt Russell and Mickey Rooney. And
Yeah.
the story goes, a fox and a hound become unlikely best friends. As they grow and time goes by, their human guardianships begin to divide them and ultimately test their friendship. Richard Corliss of the Time magazine praised the film for its intelligent story about prejudice. He argued that it shows that biased attitudes can poison even the deepest relationships, and its bittersweet ending delivers a powerful and important moral message to audiences.
Hmm.
It's a good one, man.
And it's very interesting. Yeah, and some of the research. So Kurt Russell was one of the voices of Fox and the Hound, and the movie actually opened up on the same weekend as the movie Escape from New York, which stars Kurt Russell.
Russell, yeah, I did. So the John Carpenter movie, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit. It's like, I mean, I'll take Escape from New York as one of the best movies ever, but
It's not Tombstone. Let's put
yeah,
it
it's
that
kind
way.
of yeah, exactly. Again, these specs are going to be short, so moving on. My next movie, Robin Hood, released in 1973, directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, who also did Aristocats, Sword in the Stone, Jungle Book, Sleeping Beauty, as well as 9 other people.
Mm-hmm.
Writer Larry Clemens, who actually helped write Fox and the Hound, Aristocats, Jungle Book, Rescuers, and Rescuers Down Under, which was not mentioned in the honorable mentions, but Rescuers Down Under was a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the old story of Robin Hood stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, told in an animated fashion with animals comprising of the main characters. It did get 1 Oscar nominee for original song Love, which when I was watching the movie was the only song I kind of really recognized. So, and it stars Brian Bedford and Phil Harris, which is going to come up a little later, who voiced Baloo in the Jungle Book. and then he did Little John in the movie. And that is all I have on the animated Robin Hood from 1973.
Okay, you took some of my Jungle Book stuff, which I like, but it'll kind of be a repeat, but that's all right. There's too many. I'm just my next movie is The Jungle Book, obviously 1967. Too many animators to name, but only one director,
Yeah.
and that was your boy Wolfgang Reitherman or Reitherman, however you said
Yeah.
it. And I
He's now my boy. I'm putting stake on him.
too many writers to name, but it was based on the great Rudyard Kipling or Rudyard Kipling. I think I'm saying that right. But his other classic works of literature turned to classic cinema include Gunga Din of the golden year 1939, and he also wrote The Man Who Would Be King, which was Sean Connery's personal favorite film of his own. The only name I recognized from the film was George Sanders, the voice of Shere Khan the tiger. He also starred in Hitchcock's Rebecca, which I I just watched that for our next pod. Love that movie. But
we'll be speaking about that film.
He also starred in All About Eve, so that's another classic. The story: the boy raised by wolves, Mowgli, sets out on an adventure through the jungle with his acquaintances, Bagheera the panther and Baloo the bear. Richard Schickel, reviewing for Life magazine, referred to it as the best thing of its kind since Dumbo. Another short, bright, unscary, and blessed, uncultivated cartoon.
Another honorable mention that was not mentioned earlier in the pod, Dumbo, another classic Disney animated movie.
And that's all I got.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
My next movie to introduce, the classic, and maybe at the top of the list, maybe not, Aladdin, released in 1992, directed by Ron Clements, who also was a writer on the movie, as well as Moana, Little Mermaid, Princess and the Frog, and Hercules. And the writers include Ron Clements, John Musker, and 19 other people. Again, we're seeing theme here. It is about a street urchin named Aladdin stumbles upon a magic lamp that grants him 3 wishes and embarks on a decadent adventure with a princess, an evil villain, and a sultan. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave it 3 stars out of 4. Quote, good but not great, with the exception of Robin Williams, whose sequences have life and energy all their own. And I gotta say, rewatching this movie, he is the movie. Robin Williams really steals the show here.
Most of it was
It stars Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Linda Larkin, Scott Wenger, and Gilbert Gottfried, another one that kind of popped out to me. Won 2 Oscars for original score and original song, Whole New World. And it is important to note, I had my boss over at the time I was watching this movie, and he said his 2 daughters loved this movie when they were little, and he knew every word of A Whole New World.
Nice, dude.
So, Aladdin, 1992.
I kind of wish earlier when I interrupted her, I kind of wish she just would have been like, dude, stop interrupting me, okay? But there's a pause, I mean, we're a state across, so it's got a
we're living in a society.
Yeah, a little bit of delay.
All right, your last and your final film.
It is. My last film is Snow White from 1937. Mm-hmm. Animation supervisors were Hamilton Lusky, Fred Moore, Vladimir, Titula, and Morgan Ferguson.
Ilyich.
Yeah. It's based on the fairy tale by the Grimm brothers, Jacob and Wilhelm. No recognizable names in the cast, and this synopsis is straight from IMDb. Exiled into the dangerous forest by her wicked stepmother, a princess is rescued by 7 dwarf miners who make her part of their household. Variety observed that perfect is the illusion, so tender the romance and fantasy, so emotional in certain portions, when the acting of the character strikes a depth comparable to the sincerity of human players, that the film approaches real greatness. Yeah.
Wow, that is a hell of a review for an animated classic.
Hey man, they had a little more. The writers were a little more sophisticated back then than they are.
Yeah, a little more appreciation back then.
Yeah,
That's true. I think Snow White was also the first Disney princess that they ever released in film.
it was.
And it also, important to note, 750 different artists worked on that film.
Oh, geez, dude. Yeah, you did more research on this shit than I
Yeah,
did,
now you can just now you can just type in something in Chat GPT or AI, and you can have a whole film.
That's
you
true.
don't even know. So it watching these movies, doing the research, it does give me a little bit more appreciation of the artistry and the work that it took in, or the work that people put in to release these movies back in the day, and which led us here. So, my last movie, a classic, Peter Pan, released in 1953, directed by Clyde, I'm going to butcher this name, Geronimi, who also did Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, written based on the story and playwright by J.M. Barrie, and then 9 other writers contributed to the storyline. It's a timeless tale of Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, Neverland, and Captain Hook, starring Bobby Beaumont and Catherine Driscoll, who was actually Alice in Alice in Wonderland. Not nominated for any Oscars. Roger Ebert did not review it, and to be honest, I searched for quite a while. I couldn't find anything
Yeah.
that was released, back in the 50s about this movie. And in all the newer reviews and, critic articles just talked about how bad it was.
Oh, geez.
We'll get into that when we talk about it. But yeah, Peter Pan. This was an interesting watch when I rewatched it. A lot of things I did not remember, and we'll talk about that when we start to rank them. So, for those unfamiliar, now that Zach and I have introduced each movie that we picked, we will go into our rankings of the movies. And we usually start with one of us saying what we had at 9 and 10. Zach, I believe you went first last week, so
I believe I did.
I will start as Fox and the Hound at number 10.
Oh, wow. Because I have that at 1, so.
Whoa! Whoa!
I do, man. You want to hear my explanation why I have
Wow. I think we all deserve an explanation for that.
The most serious and life lesson film on the list about loss, tolerance, and how nothing lasts forever. It meets all the criteria of cuteness, humor, and suspense that most of the other movies on this list have. So,
okay, who did you plagiarize that from?
I didn't plagiarize that. I actually took that. Believe it or not, man. Hey, I have my moments, dude. I don't steal everything, Who did you
wow,
plagiarize?
that's incredible. Number 1. Okay.
Which, I mean, I didn't expect it to end at number 1. I want that. It's on the record. I didn't expect it to be at number 1, but I kind of had a hunch you might put it far behind, so it forces us to split the difference. So it was a play. It was a play.
I was not expecting that, and honestly, I had it at 6 to start on my first go round of rankings, so not too far off if we decide to put it at 5. Which, for those who aren't aware, this is what we normally do. If Zach has something at 1, and I don't think we've had 1 and 10, but we will split the difference and put the movie right in the middle.
If we have to put it at 6, we
I
can.
need to hear.
Yeah.
I need to hear a little more. Explain yourself.
Well, I just explained myself. You explained why I was at the back. Why was that 10 for you? I feel like it was, out of all the movies that we have, this is actually the most probably poignant message of all the Disney movies.
Okay. I can't argue with that, but again, this is kind of not an argument, but more of a debate that we have almost every week.
I just hang up on you.
It's what when we rank these movies, do we rank them as what we enjoy personally, or if the movie is better than the others? And Zach has shared his frame of mind as if it's a better movie, it should be your favorite movie. And I feel I can like bad movies
Yeah.
and have them higher up on better done movies. So I think here you're kind of taking a leap that there are some more important movies and bigger box office movies on the list,
Oh,
but
for
you're
sure,
you're
dude.
putting Fox
Yeah.
and Hound at number one.
Yeah. Because, I mean, dude, I liked it. It met every, like you said, they're all kind of the same. And this movie did, I mean, I wrote down in my notes, it kind of jumps right into it when they're chasing the mother. I mean, he loses his mom right away faster than Bambi loses his. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just,
It's true.
yeah. Plus, they're like cute and stuff.
Wow.
The worm becomes a caterpillar, but it's funny because they're trying to get the the freaking caterpillar, and it's, I don't know, man. It just it I
Well, it was definitely one of the later released animated movies, so the cuteness of the animation definitely does make sense. Wow. Yeah, I was not. That's a curveball. I was not expecting.
and we'll see. Depending on what you have at 5, maybe it'll go to 6. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Um. Well, I'm very interested to hear what you had at 10.
I had Fantasia at 10, actually.
Well, okay. Yeah.
I mean, the way I wrote it down was I could see like uh, I could see it any. I mean, I have it at 10, but I could see it being as high as 1 or splitting the difference at 5. I mean, I understand how important it was to
Yeah.
the Disney animated family, but I just, yeah, I don't know, man. I found myself
It.
kind of going back to, I remember whenever I watched this when I was a kid, I only wanted to see the Sorcerer's Apprentice with Mickey Mouse and the dinosaur sequence. Everything else was kind of like, oh, I mean, it's all right. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
it's the music is phenomenal because it's Beethoven, Bach,
Yeah.
Stravinsky. I mean, and I kind of, as I was watching it, I'm like, well, as an adult, I'd rather just go watch an orchestra play this and not watch Fantasia. So that's kind of that's
Yeah. As a child, you're not appreciating these composers,
right, right. But
and honestly, it's a dark movie.
it is, yeah,
Not only dark in the story, but it's dark in not the cinematography or the lighting, because it's animated, but the whole movie is just kind of darkly lit. And I remember my brother really liked this. Derek, he really liked Fantasia, and every time he would put it on, I'd leave the room or go play Nintendo or something like that. It's like
yeah,
I just don't. I didn't get it. And again, it's one of the. It is the longest animated Disney film. So when you're a kid, 5 years old, are you going to sit still for 2 hours and 4 minutes
yeah,
for this? Which is mostly comprised of symphony. Like,
yeah. I mean,
so yeah, my original ranking, I also had Fantasia at 10. In my second ranking, had it at 10. In my last, I did move it up to 7, just because the more research I did, it was pretty groundbreaking, and it grossed a lot of money, and the movie sales were pretty good. But it's hard to argue for the movie. I didn't enjoy it when I was younger. I tried to watch it for this pod. I gotta say, I picked up my phone within 20 minutes.
yeah, yeah. I think
So
I think
I,
10
I'm
is
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna agree with you. We're gonna put it 10. It's on the list. We recognize that it's an important movie. It was groundbreaking for its time. But this is Zach and Jaaron's podcast, and we're
yeah.
gonna rank them where we feel. At number 9, I had Robin Hood.
Okay, okay. I had Robin Hood at 7. So
Okay,
just
that's not
for,
too far off.
I mean, for the record, this after Fantasia, I decided to put all the films that have been like republished or have been hits in literature, like the stage and silent
Mm,
film, all of those are to the back because it's basically Disney's just retelling a popular story to
yeah,
put the asses in the seat. So
they're
yeah, and
they're
Robin Hood,
recycling.
yeah,
Yeah,
Robin Hood fell under that category. So I mean, it's up to
I think maybe Robin Hood is maybe one of the most recycled stories in Hollywood history, and I would
yeah,
have to do research on this, but if you go through, I mean, how many different Hollywood or how many different Robin Hoods there are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, and you had Prince of Thieves in our childhood movies, which
Loved it.
we talked about that on that pod. And I just go through and a lot of different takes. Yeah, it's just a retread of the same story over and over again. So, rewatching it when I first did my rankings, I had it as high as 5, and then watching all these, like it's the same story. It's entertaining because it's a fox, right, instead of a human. It is important to note. I think this was the first Disney animated movie since Bambi where there were no humans depicted on screen. So all the characters were
Oh,
animals
right.
that were talking, and
Yeah.
they took on, yeah. But you had it at 7. I have it at 9. So we're gonna agree upon 8 here. But then I've got to ask you, what should go at 9?
I have Peter Pan. And
I don't disagree.
oh, really?
Yeah, no. Rewatching this is one that I was very excited to talk about. I had no idea. Rewatching this movie, wow. And, you can always say it was a different time. People thought differently back then, and this and that. But Peter Pan straight up kidnaps Wendy and her siblings.
Dude,
she,
in my explanation for why I had it at 9, other than it's like you mentioned being recycled, it's actually a really dark movie, dude. Because you just said
yeah,
Peter Pan essentially kidnaps Wendy, but Tinkerbell leaves Wendy for dead, essentially. The Indians threaten to
yeah,
burn the Lost Boys at the stake, and Smee literally says, I
yeah,
think it's probably best we just cut Pan's throat. So, I mean,
yeah.
that's not word for word,
It's
probably, but it's like, that's dark, dude. That's dark.
re- within the first 10 minutes, Wendy's, I'm going to grow up tomorrow, my 13th birthday. And Pan's like, nope, you're coming with me to Neverland.
Yeah.
Doesn't even give her a choice. Just, and then, I can't leave my siblings. Well, I'll steal them too.
Yeah.
And
And
that's when I think of Peter Pan, unfortunately or fortunately, I think of the movie Hook,
me
right?
too. Yeah.
And it's a very different story and a very different premise of how they get to Neverland between those two movies. But and then later in the movie, they say the word Redskins quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go hunt Indians, and at one point, they're marching into the forest to hunt them. And I think the line, the kids are all chanting, "We're going to hunt Indians because our leader told us to."
Hmm.
And if that's not a metaphor for how
Yeah, I didn't even think about that
America
part,
was formed,
man. I didn't even think
I
about
don't.
that part.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, and very dark. I mean, I can't believe it was. Again, it was a different time, so movies were different, people's thoughts were different. They got away with a lot of stuff that wouldn't fly in 2025, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, rewatching it originally, for those who don't know, I rank every movie without watching them when we start this, and then as the week goes on, I watch movies and re-rank. I had it as high as 4 to start,
Oh,
and
yeah.
now, yeah, I don't disagree with 9. I think that's the perfect spot for it.
All right. All right.
Problematic, and you could go back and you can revisit a lot of films throughout history and say they're problematic, right? But
Yeah.
we're not here to debate that sort of stuff. So we have 10 through 8, and I'm curious on what your number 7 movie is.
Well, number 7 was Robin Hood. 8 for me was Jungle Book. And I know that,
Oh, 8, yes, yes.
yeah, yeah. I probably, as a kid, I probably would have had it at 2, but it's, again,
Yeah,
been, it's a story that's been retold, not too many times, but it's
yeah,
a decent amount of times. But yeah, that's,
yeah. I agree, and I think the biggest takeaway from it, rewatching it, is, I mean, the Vultures are the Beatles. Right? I think that was like maybe my first introduction to who the Beatles were, and it's not even
no, it's not them actually,
the Beatles don't voice the characters,
but
but
they, yeah, I had to
How they
double check
speak
that.
and
Yeah, I had to look that up. I was like, dude, they sound like the Beatles, but so
well,
I looked it up.
and apparently
They were
and
going
apparently
to.
Disney wanted the Beatles. Yeah, they wanted the Beatles to voice them, and then it just didn't work out. I don't know if it's contract disputes, money, or whatever the case was, but it didn't work out. But yeah, they really wanted the Beatles to voice the Vultures, which I thought was an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, I think IMDb says why they didn't do it, but I didn't write it down, unfortunately. Such such
Yeah, and I think I completely agree with you. I think as a child, this would have been in my top three for sure because I think it was one of the more watched movies, VHS tapes that I had. But rewatching these now, just not as entertaining, not as fun as well, maybe as an adult, but
no.
not as fun as the other movies that we're going to discuss here. So,
I, I know I used
this,
to I know I used to roam around the backyard in my underwear like Mowgli. So I I'm pretty sure.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
mom and
exactly.
yeah,
So,
they
take the
would,
mindset of a child running around in his underwear in the backyard, and
yeah.
a lot of things are possible. Uh,
Shit, we were
um,
kids back then, man. We didn't have iPads. We just had to use our imagination.
no,
So
the bare necessities. That's
right,
all you need.
right, dude, right.
Forget about your worries. Which I think that hit home with a lot of children too. It was, it's an outcast. They call them. It's kind of a fight for this child and a fight to release this child. All the
Right,
different
right.
animal species, and he's kind of an outcast. So as a child, I think everybody kind of feels like an outcast. Everybody can kind of relate to Mowgli, and it's like, yeah, who wouldn't want to have a bear who can sing jazz like
Yeah,
as a best friend?
yeah. Good points,
You
Jared.
know.
Good points, bro.
But yeah, so in number six for me, I had Snow White.
Oh, you did. Hmm.
I know. I had it higher, but boring.
Well, a part of the reason because I had it at 5, and the main reason I
Oh,
put it at 5. I mean, you got to give credit. You got to give it credit. It
where
was
credit's due.
like it's what started it all.
Yeah, the very first Disney princess.
Yeah, you don't really know. I don't think there's a Disney empire without this film. And for the longest time, it was the highest grossing movie of all time. But yeah, yeah, I don't
And
know. I'd rather
in
have
the
it.
research again, not problematic, not diving into this, but apparently in the original film they kind of touch on the subject of how old Snow White is,
Hmm.
or maybe in the original written story, and she's 14. And then there was, nowadays with the woke, there was a whole back. Oh, wow, she didn't consent to the prince. Whatever. We don't have to
Whatever,
delve into
dude.
that.
Yeah, we.
But again, we're two males who grew up, in the 80s and 90s, watching movies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and fighting, and
Right.
Snow White was just not something that I was interested when I was a kid. And rewatching it, I get why it was important. The first princess, and it kind of kicked off. You could relate it to Frozen easily and Elsa,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And I understand its significance, so that's why I had it at six.
Yeah, the significance is
You
why I
had it at
even.
five.
Yeah, the significance is why I even put it on my list. 'Cause that wasn't a huge rewatchable uh, when I was younger. It wasn't one of my go-to movies when I was a kid, but
No,
it's again,
but it was important.
yeah, yeah, it was important, and it's pretty high on like AFI's freaking uh, greatest movies of all time list, and it's just
But again, I think that's more of the cultural significance of the film, more so than the film itself,
yeah, yeah, it was
because it was important at the time, right?
right,
And
right.
then Sound of Music came in and was like, actually, we're going to take over number one.
That's true.
And then you could also argue, hey, if we're going to do significance or importance of movies is going to determine where it's ranked, Fantasia should be much higher than 10. So
No,
again,
you're
this
right.
is our pod.
Yeah.
These are the movies that we enjoy. We have Fox and the Hound at 5 right now. So Snow White can either be 5 or 6.
Oh, let's go with 6. I wrote down, depending on where you had
No, I
it,
love it.
it shouldn't go like the lowest it should have gone is 7, in my opinion. So six is a good
Yeah.
spot for it.
And I think I mentioned this maybe before we started recording, but I did. I think I had 5 iterations of rankings. The top 4 just didn't. It didn't change each time. So here we are. We're going to dive into top 4. I'm excited to hear what you have it for because I'm pretty sure we're going to disagree.
I got Beauty and the Beast at 4.
Ah, okay. I had Bambi.
All right, all right. I mean, yeah. I got Beauty and the Beast where I got because I understand it came out in 1991, so the animation's obviously a little more detailed and stuff. But I mean, the music's great. It's a great story, and it's the only on our list to be nominated for Best Picture. So I mean, that's something.
Whoa. I think I overlooked that detail. It was actually nominated for Best Picture at the
It
Oscars.
was, man. It was.
Wow.
I did not know.
Well, I did not know that.
No, the bridge, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I don't know how I overlooked that detail. Beauty and the Beast. This was one of the first ones I rewatched for the pod.
Yeah, it must have been a Monday detail. It's all right.
Shit, no, man. Get your ass kicked for saying something like that. Okay, well, I mean, Beauty again.
I,
You look back with the lens of 2025. This old man stumbles into the castle. Granted, he's trespassing, but just kick him out.
yeah,
No, he has
I
to
have to
imprison him.
imprison him.
And then
Yeah,
the daughter, and then Beast turns around like, "You actually have to stay here forever."
yeah, forever.
Seems a little excessive.
Yeah,
Seems a little excessive.
but to be
But I think it's a good right. Like you have to look at the inner beauty of people,
that's
Zach.
it.
You
That's the
can't
story,
judge
dude. Yeah.
just because they're ugly on the outside doesn't mean you can't love them.
To be fair, I thought the Beast looked pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I didn't think he.
Well, I know.
I know.
I thought so too. And you got to think it's like he's a wildebeest, right? Because they're like, well, what is he?
Yeah.
Well, and I thought it was kind of unfair to him just because he didn't want to let some old lady come into his house when it was raining. She cast a spell on him and cursed him forever.
No,
It's kind of rude.
might be a little excessive, but I mean, got to learn a lesson, I suppose.
Every fairy tale,
Yeah.
yeah, every fairy tale has a story. But
I'd rather.
yeah, I mean,
I'd
yeah.
rather. I'd
I mean,
rather.
I think
Yeah, that's.
Shrek kind of rips this off.
It does. But dude, these movies get ripped off a lot. So, but
Yeah, it's true.
I personally would rather have Bambi at 4 and bump up Beast if that was the case. Because remember, I had Fox and the Hound at 1, so my top.
It is true.
I mean, our top.
Okay, no. Bambi at 4 works. Um, I mean, the entire time I watched Bambi, it was just Will Ferrell in my head. I'm like Bambi's mother. I'll make sure nothing happens to you guys. He walks away like, didn't Bambi's mom die? Like, yeah, I think it was the first scene. Like,
It's not quite the
I mean,
first
how
scene.
tragic of a movie.
It is sad, but dude, but think about like the Fox and the Hound. His mom, the Fox's mother dies right away. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, Bambi's mom doesn't die. I mean, she
It's
dies
not.
in the first act, but I don't know. It's
It's not highlighted as such in Fox and the Hound than it is Bambi.
no.
It's like
You're right. You're right.
I'm gonna take care of you, and then and Disney obviously geniuses. They don't ever show a gun. They just have a gunshot, and they don't ever show the deer down, right? Like or the doe.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I remember. I don't specifically remember watching the movie for the first time because I was They're very small. I was very small. But yeah, you're sitting there watching a Disney movie, an animated movie. Where's Bambi mom? Like, what happened? It's like, well, yeah, she's dead, and that's kind of jarring for a child, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these movies from the early 40s and 50s, even Disney movies, it was, we're going to introduce some tough situations and good storytelling early on, and children just aren't cognitively able to process that until later in life. But I think it is important, right? Because
It teaches
life
them
isn't
all.
all Lilo and
Yeah.
Stitch,
Right. Right.
you know,
Uh,
which I've never seen, so I actually don't know.
I mean, one of the things watching Bambi as an adult is like, I mean, hunting deer is kind of it's a necessity, unfortunately. I mean, the hunters were kind of the bad guys, but it's also you have to
Mm.
see hunting as sort of a harvest of the deer so they don't overpopulate. Otherwise, people are going to be hitting them with their cars like crazy. So, I mean, still a great movie.
Important to note, Zach and I grew up in Nebraska.
Yeah, yeah. That's just my 2 cents of something I thought of while
No,
I was
it is.
watching it.
It's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a life cycle. It's not natural life cycle with hunters, but it's part of the process of today.
Yeah.
So that just leaves one and two, and I already know what your number one was.
Did,
So
did I
I'm
spill the beans
curious
on that
because
already?
yeah, Fox and the Hound was your number one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, dude. Oh yeah, yeah. My bad.
We spent quite a bit of time on it. Actually, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say Lion King was your two.
It was, yes.
So your Aladdin was six.
No, I had Aladdin at 3. I had Bambi at 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes more sense.
You're picking up what I'm throwing down.
I honestly, I'm flabbergasted that you had Fox and the Hound as high as you did. But I knew the Lion King and Aladdin were going to be in both of our top three.
Yeah, yeah. I initially actually had.
I mean, those are just.
I think I actually had Aladdin at 6, the first list I made. But then I watched it, and I consider Aladdin the Raiders of the Lost Ark of Disney movies. So it's when you're putting that comparison. I
Is that
mean,
right?
it's yeah. Once you make that simile or
Because they're
whatever,
going,
yeah, you have to
they're
put it
going under
pretty
the
high.
sand dune and getting the lamp,
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's freaking it.
which is similar to the art. I mean,
It's entertaining
I
as
never put
hell,
it
man.
together like that.
Yeah, it's entertaining.
That
I
is
loved it.
true.
And one of the writers for Aladdin. Did you? Yeah, you mentioned that they did like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies and Shrek movies, and they also wrote Mask of Zorro to Ted Elliott and uh, what is it? Ted
Hmm. I
Bruce.
believe I mentioned the names. I don't believe I mentioned Shrek or anything.
Right, right, yeah. I recognized their names
That is,
from Mask of Zorro, and then I looked it up a little bit more. So, oh shit, they wrote the Shrek franchise and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I think.
hmm.
So,
Well, I saw one of them had worked on at World's End, but that was I think was the third Pirates.
yeah, maybe it was just that one. I don't know.
Semantics.
Yeah,
Semantics.
it's
I mean, rewatching all of these, Aladdin is what I enjoyed the most,
hmm
just because I think out of all the 10 that we had, I think that's the one I watched the most as a child. So, and again, it was awesome to have my boss here, and I could like see him lip syncing a whole new world, like John, what are you doing over there? Like, and he said, he watched it 100 times because his daughters just absolutely love the film. So again, similar with my parents, I'm sure they could sing every word now. But for the significance, and I believe Lion King should be number one because it was huge. I
oh,
mean, it was a,
that's it was. I wrote down
it was like Titanic.
yeah, it was probably the zenith for Disney films. That still really hasn't been matched yet. It's got A-list act or just like close to A-list actor voices with a kind of a Shakespearean style story with, great music, the Hans Zimmer score, and freaking Elton John saying, yeah, I can't remember which song he sang, and I think it's still the highest grossing Disney animated movie of all time. So like I said,
and and it was the first Disney movie not based on IP or like previous IP. This is
oh yeah,
it was a totally original movie. Now, granted, original you can bend and shape how you want,
yeah, it's like I
but I
said,
mean, it also had, I think,
there's kind of a Shakespearean element to the Lion
yeah.
King story, but it's like you said.
I mean, also Matthew Broderick, Jeremy Irons, Whoopi Goldberg, James Earl Jones. I
Yep,
mean, this
yep.
was
Like I said, man.
just with the cast. I mean, it was set to be. Oh, it was the highest grossing Disney animated film until Nemo, which actually Nemo I think is DreamWorks. So
Yeah, is it Pix?
I could be wrong on
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Someone's going to correct us, but
yeah. That was probably because
um,
Katzenberg was at Disney, I think, at that time, but then he formed DreamWorks with Spielberg.
yeah, that was his last film,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So between Aladdin and Lion King, I mean,
I'd put Lion
what's your
King at
one?
one. I had Lion King at two. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because you ridiculously put Fox and the Hound at one.
It's not ridiculous, dude. I mean, it's not that dumb.
No, I mean the argument for it is legitimate. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it does have the most poignant storytelling and kind of the most values and lessons that you can learn in a Disney movie like that.
Yeah. I think we're owed an
So
explanation.
it's
Yeah.
not ridiculous. I yeah, no, I don't disagree with Lion King at number one though. Again, I think for significance and again we can hash that out with Fantasia, Snow White, whatever. But Lion King, like you said, was the zenith of Disney animated movies. It was huge. It was before cell phones. It was the best kind of animation at its time. It was the top of the top, and it grossed so much money.
It did.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, young Simba. It was
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was great. And Jeremy Irons, I think, killed it as Scar.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons is great, man. He's great.
Not to take away from Aladdin,
Nope.
number two. I think that's
That's a
respectable,
solid. Yeah.
but it's respectable. Again, I love that movie as well, but yeah, Lion King at number one. Can't argue with it. So wow, we went through that pretty quickly. I think this is our shortest pod, which Zach and I kind of discussed previous. It was definitely going to be.
This is the first
There's
time
not a lot of
that we've come under an hour, or we actually hit the hour mark that we promise at the beginning of every episode. So this is,
I do say an hour. I'm gonna have to adjust that. I'll say 90 minutes from now on.
I was gonna correct you again this time and be like, dude, it's never been an hour. I don't know why you keep saying an hour, but this time
we take an hour out of our lives. 90 minutes.
Yeah, add another hour. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, and Zach and I had spoken about this before we started recording. There's not a lot to talk about direction and cinematography and, art direction, things like that in animated movies. So we knew we were going to kind of go through this quickly. We'd love to hear everyone's insights on it. But normally, after we finish this, we will recap and send it off. So at number 10, we agreed upon Fantasia. Number 9, Peter Pan in the original format, 1957. Number 8, Robin Hood. 9, Jungle Book. 6,
Jungle Book.
Snow White. 7, Jungle Book. Yes. Yeah. 6, Snow White. 5, Fox and the Hound, which Zach and I will continue talking about after we're done recording. Bambi at number 4. Beauty and the Beast 3, Aladdin at 2, and reigning supreme, Lion King at the number 1 animated Disney movie for Zach and I. Zach, this is a good pod. I think we should aim to have it this succinct every time, even though that won't happen.
It's not going to, dude. I promise.
It's not going to happen. Again, this is the Average Jives. Zach Zokol, Jaaron Grawl. We are going to be releasing podcasts every so often. So stay tuned, follow us, give us a like on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And Zach, do you want to give the folks a teaser about our next one?
The next episode, we're going to be doing the best Alfred Hitchcock films. So that should be a good one.
Yeah, we're going to go from ridiculous Disney animated to serious Alfred Hitchcock. So
yeah, the master of suspense.
Tune in the next time. Again, my name is Jaaron, good friend Zach, and listen to us again.
Yep. So long, everybody.
Wrap. It's a wrap. Come back tomorrow.
Harry,
Fuck.